if you are looking to go from 0 to 100, whether you're in industrial marketing or technical sales, on this episode, I'm going to give you some key tips and strategies on how to do it.
Boxes, I cannot fit in the boxes. Stop it. Quitting was never an option. Exhausted. This passion is never exhausted. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it. Quitting was never an option. And you cannot stop it. Nah, you cannot stop it.
So you want to go from 0 to 100. So think about this, whether you're a marketer, whether you're a salesperson, even in your personal life, you want to go from point A to point B, whether it's like fitness, you want to go from not being fit to super fit. From a sales standpoint, you want to go from a little bit of revenue and income that you're bringing in for your company to a lot. From a marketing standpoint, you don't have a pipeline that's built out. You don't have funnels that are built out. You're not getting that much traffic from your website, traffic from social, whatever it is. You're trying to get eyes on what it is that you guys do so you can market to them and try and sell them. And you want it now. The issue is that you have to be patient to a certain degree, right? Most of the time, people always relate this from a fitness standpoint, because that's something that everybody can relate with. So if you want to go from not being fit to super fit, you got to put in the work. You can't just eat a magic pill, do a single workout. There is no secret. It's not just like, oh, if I just eat this type of food, I'm going to be fit. Or if I just work out once a day, but eat whatever I want, then I'm going to be fit. I think everybody can relate with that, regardless of what physical shape you're in. Everybody can relate with that example. So I want you to keep that in mind, your own personal situation as we go through these different points, and just relate it to what you're doing. So if you're in marketing, right, and you salespeople need to still listen up too. If you're in marketing and you want to get a lot of attention and eyes on your stuff, you have to build out the system first. This goes with sales. This goes with everything. You have to have not just a strategy. Like, I know that I want to get to here. In order for me to get to there, I'm going to use these channels to market, and I'm going to do these things to create content. And then this is how I should distribute it. But then setting all those systems up, there is no point in wasting any sort of ad dollars, pay-per-click spend on campaigns if the system is not set up to accept it. So an example of that would be if you're trying to run paid ad campaigns, but you don't have your CRM system, let's say HubSpot, for example, set up properly to where when somebody does come to your website, are the forms set up? Once they fill out those forms, are there sequences, are there workflows that are set up to where somebody fills out a form that automates a response, that puts it on somebody's calendar, then an email comes out confirming it. Once they have that conversation and people are putting notes on that customer or that potential customer's contact profile in their CRM system, does something happen after that? Is a tag automatically generated? Does that then schedule a task for follow-up? Does that start an email sequence for they get a demo or they get an offer, whatever it is? Those things have to be set up before you can really push super hard. So prospects come to us and they're like, I want to do marketing. We need revenue. Like, we were relying on referrals. They're not coming through. Our salespeople aren't doing a good job. If you're going to spend $9,000, $10,000, $6,000 a month with us at MFG Tribe to bring attention around your brand, and your website sucks, we cannot do that. That does not make sense. Some agencies will be like, yeah, we could do it. Doesn't matter. So the approach that we have is like, we have to make sure that where we're sending all of that traffic is at least able to accept it, right? That at a bare minimum, their website may not be the best, and maybe it needs to be overhauled, but our call to actions in place, is tracking in place, our KPIs being tracked, conversions, are there forms to fill out? Are there internal links to get somebody from point A where they land to point B or C or D or whatever? Is that set up? Because as long as that's set up, you can market. Now, is it going to be as efficient and as effective if your website was brand new? Yes. Or no, it wouldn't be. But not everybody has $10, $20, $30, $50,000 to spend on the website. So you got to fix the website first, whether that's a week's worth of work or 3 months worth of work. You have to fix that first before you want to spend money bringing a ton of attention to it. That's where the patience comes in. You can't just be looking to just throw, like, if you throw money at a problem, that doesn't solve the problem. If the problem is the website needs to be fixed, throw money at it to fix the website. And then once that's done, you can then start marketing and advertising. You sales guys and girls out there, If you're trying to bring in 100 new customers this year, you have to work backwards. You cannot just do a single campaign, just do cold calls, just do one effort to be able to get those 100 customers. You have to make sure that everything's built out. Do you have your value proposition and your pitch ready to talk to people? You may be thinking to yourself like, yeah, dude, I've been doing this for 15 years. I got my pitch ready. But are you focusing too much? Are you doing the method that I call show up and throw up, that those of you that follow the content know I say that a lot, where you get into the presentation, you throw up all of your content onto them, all your value proposition, everything it is that your company's service or product can do for them, when really they don't care about that, because not all those things solve their problem? Or are you going to it from a standpoint of, I'm looking to provide a solution to your problem? So you have a conversation and you say, look, I've got a presentation, I can go through some stuff. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the top 3 problems that you have on a monthly basis and ask them to talk, to give you the information. And then you customize your pitch around that to just solve those problems. Once you go through your service or your product, how it can solve those problems, then you can say, here's some things that we also do just to keep in mind if you guys have an issue in the future. These are other things, other benefits that it has, that our product has, or other things that we can do for your supply chain from a services standpoint. You can talk about those very briefly. But if you're like, dude, I want to go from no customers or 10 customers to 100, and your pitch sucks, you're not going to get there. That's broken. You have to slow down and look at every single aspect of it. So it starts with the pitch for you sales guys. And then once you pitch them, is your quoting process efficient? Are you turning around quotes in a day, 2 days, 3 days, something like that? Or is it taking you 3-4 weeks? And if it's taking you 3-4 weeks, just think about it. If the process is broken, you always got to think, I was on a call with a customer this morning. I always think worst case scenario, right? Worst case scenario from the standpoint, if this works and we get a lot of attention and all that comes in at once or over a couple of days, does the system break? And so let's say that your pitch is good. Let's say that your website is good for you marketers out there, and you get 1,000 people, 100 people that all say, yep, I want to have a conversation, and you get them all in, and then you go to the next phase of your pipeline, the next stage of the deal for you sales guys, it goes into quoting, and then you're like, shit, my quotes take 3 weeks to get done. That's your bottleneck. You need to look at that before you go ham and super hard and say, I'm going to push out as hard as possible. And then you reach that bottleneck and everything chokes up, and then you miss opportunities. And then those people are like, nope, you know what? I went with somebody else because they were faster, more responsive, got me my pricing. They have the same rough solution as you did. Maybe yours is a little bit better, but they got me what I needed quicker, and I was in a time crunch. So you have to look at those different stages of your process to make sure that there isn't a huge bottleneck. Now, I'm not saying wait until management builds out your team and has 15 project engineers to quote all your stuff or dedicated staff to do that. But you at least have to look at it and see, are there any minor things that I could do that take a day, 2 days, a week, something like that to fix this problem before it becomes a major headache? That's what I mean by thinking worst case scenario. Worst case scenario, you got a lot of people that come to your website. Worst case scenario, you got a lot of people that want to quote. Is that really, like, that's the worst case scenario from a good standpoint, from a positive standpoint, but is the system broke? So once you go through the quoting process, once you send it to them, let's say that all those people can become customers. Let's say that you marketers, you get all this attention, you get all this traffic, and all of them want to talk to a salesperson all at the same time, right? It's 100 people that are like, I want to talk with them the next week. Can your process handle that? Can your system handle it? Do you have the things set up in place? Now, obviously, if 100 people came to us right now and said, hey, we want you to do our marketing, we would turn down most of them, because we're not trying to bring in 100 people at once, because we're very strategic and focused on who we do business with, because we look at it as a partnership. So we're not just trying to take everybody. We're strategic. We analyze the people that we want to talk to, and we look at the opportunities that we have, and we see, are they a good fit for what we do? Are they a leader? Do we want to put our stamp on them and be their partner and the only person in that space of industrial that they do? That's our partner, and we don't want to work with any other competition. We're very selective. But if 100 people come through, that's how we are. But if 100 people come through to you, how are you guys going to handle it? Maybe for you marketers, there's not enough salespeople to handle that. Okay, so you can break out the conversations over a week or two. Maybe it's not 100, maybe it's 10. Like, be realistic, right? If you got 10 people that say, I want to talk this week, can you handle that? If you got 2 people that say they want to talk to this day, can you handle that? Do you have the salespeople in process and in the works to be able to do that? But you have to make sure that that's in place before you go crazy hard out there to get new attention. Work it down one step further in the process. So now You've gotten their attention, you've given them a pitch, you've had the meeting, you sent them a quote, and then now you've got 50 people that say, I want to be a customer. So now you're going into the transition process of sales, taking it from a sale, flipping it over the fence to operations to now make good on that sale. Is that system broken? If you brought 15 people in this week, would that system crumble? Would you be pissing off customers right away that then maybe don't want to do business with you, or maybe cancel their contract, regardless of whatever it is that you're selling? Are you pissing them off to where they don't want to do business with you? Obviously, there's growing pains, right? With any company. I don't care if you're a company of 100 million or you're a company of 100,000, there are growing pains. They're just at different scales, right? And they're just different types of growing pains. So I understand that. Like, you bring in multiple customers in a week, there's going to be slight delays because your team is focusing on numerous things. If it's major delays, if it's major communication breakdown, then that is where it's essentially a waste of time. Like, all that stuff that you did, everybody wants to focus on the end result of getting to that 100% efficiency, 100% performance, 100% in love with the current physical shape of their body and the current physical health that they have. Everybody's focused on, I want that, but they don't focus on, well, the steps to get there are going to be A, B, C, D. And I've got issues with 2 of those steps that are going to break it down, and I'm not going to be successful if those steps are needed. And so therefore I have to look at that and make sure that I'm going to put as much effort into fixing that before it becomes a major problem. So can you build it as you're doing it? Yes, to a certain degree. I'm not saying stop what you're doing, fix the process, don't do anything, right? Because industrial and manufacturing industry, everything is about timing. Those of you that follow my content know that I say that, because today, whoever it is, a lead, a prospect, doesn't have a need, and then all of a sudden something happens at work and they do have a need. And if you were to call them tomorrow, they would have said yes. Or maybe they'll call you back and say, actually, you know what? We talked yesterday. I said no. Today I'm saying yes, because this fire just came up that I have to put out, or this supplier just shut me down, or this supplier just had an issue, or we just got a new contract and need your software or your service now. Everything changes on a daily basis. So I'm not saying completely stop, but I'm just saying don't go crazy. Don't go 100% pedal to the metal until you make sure that your system is set up and built to accept that traffic, built to accept those opportunities. People are in place to a certain degree. And then once that's done, then you go pedal to the metal and just go as hard as possible consistently. And that's the key, is that you have to not just do it for a week. Nobody wants to start a process, stop it. Start it like that stop and go stuff. It doesn't work. Sales, whether it's you're a marketer or you're in sales, the whole process of sales is that you have to be consistent and persistent with your efforts on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. You cannot just start and then stop. You can't be like, hey, we're doing a trade show in 3 months. I'm going to go really hard for the next 3 months to push us out there and try and get as many opportunities as we can. And then once the trade show happens, then you just stop. And it's like, oh, wait, we got a trade show in 3 months after that. Let's go. And then we stop. That doesn't work, because leads get cold very quickly. If somebody has a problem, they're going to find a solution to it. Think about your own personal life. If you have a problem with something in your house, a leaky faucet, or something's broken, or you need a fence repair or something like that, it doesn't go away if you just wait, right? The problem is there. So these people that are seeking your services or your products to solve their problems, the problem is still there. They need a solution. They're not going to stop looking for a solution until they find it, and it fixes their problem. And so if you're just like kind of there sometimes, not being persistent and consistent, then you won't have those opportunities. So you have to make a commitment to doing that, but you also have to fix your process in the midst of it. So as always, if you guys are looking for more content, if this was valuable to you, share it with somebody that you know. Go to the YouTube channel. I've got over 250 videos, and that number keeps on climbing, of all the content about industrial marketing and technical sales. Subscribe to it, turn on notifications, so that way when we do go live, when we do post a new video every single week, that you get notified of it and you can just eat that stuff up. If you're not following me on LinkedIn, please follow me on LinkedIn. We post so much content there every single day. And if you want to connect with me, send me over that connection request. So as always, guys, I appreciate you guys joining. I appreciate you guys watching the content, sharing it with anybody that you know, and we will see you on the next one.